The rain poured down in sheets, drumming against the car's windshield with a ferocity that blurred the world beyond. Emily's knuckles whitened as she gripped the steering wheel, eyes squinting to see the narrow road ahead. The GPS had long since lost signal, and every twist and turn seemed to drag her deeper into the unknown. Her phone's battery had died an hour ago, leaving her alone with only the hum of the engine and the relentless rain as company. Just as panic began to claw at her, she spotted a faint glow piercing through the darkness. A sign, old and worn, loomed ahead, Ravenwood into vacancy. Relief washed over her. She pulled into the gravel driveway, tires crunching, and parked beneath a gnarled oak tree that seemed to bend with age and secrets. The inn stood tall, its Victorian architecture both grand and eerie. Turrets reached for the stormy sky, and stained glass windows flickered with warm light from within. As she approached, the wooden porch creaked under her wet boots. She hesitated for a moment, feeling a shiver that had nothing to do with the cold, before pushing the heavy oak door open. Inside, the warmth was immediate, wrapping around her like a blanket. A grand chandelier hung from the ceiling, casting golden light over rich mahogany furniture and velvet drapes. At the reception desk stood a man, tall and slender, with sharp features and piercing gray eyes. He looked up, a slow smile spreading across his lips. "Welcome to Ravenwood Inn," he said, his voice smooth and velvety. "You must be weary from your travels." Emily nodded, brushing wet strands of hair from her face. "I got lost in the storm. I hope you have a room available." "Of course," he replied, reaching for a large leather-bound ledger. "We're always open to travelers seeking refuge." As she filled out the necessary details, Emily couldn't shake the feeling that those gray eyes watched her every move, studying, assessing. But she dismissed it, attributing it to her frayed nerves. He handed her an ornate key attached to a brass raven. "Room 13, at the end of the hall on the second floor. Dinner will be served shortly in the dining room." Thanking him, Emily took her suitcase and ascended the grand staircase. The inn was even more opulent upstairs, with intricate tapestries lining the walls and plush carpets muffling her footsteps. She found room 13 and unlocked the door. The room was exquisite. A four-poster bed draped with crimson silk dominated the space. A fireplace crackled merrily, and a vase of fresh roses sat on the bedside table. It was as if the room had been prepared just for her. She changed into dry clothes and decided to explore the inn before dinner. The hallways seemed to stretch endlessly, with doors leading to unknown rooms. Portraits of stern-faced individuals from eras long past lined the walls, their eyes seeming to follow her. Turning a corner, she stumbled upon a grand library. Shelves reaching the ceiling were filled with leather-bound books. A massive window overlooked the stormy landscape outside. Drawn to it, Emily approached, pressing her palm against the cold glass. "Beautiful, isn't it?" a voice murmured behind her. She spun around to see a young woman, pale with raven-black hair, lounging on a chaise. She wore a flowing white dress that seemed out of place, reminiscent of another time. "I didn't mean to intrude," Emily stammered. The woman smiled, her lips a deep crimson. "Not at all. Guests seldom find this room. I'm Serafina." "Emily," she replied, extending a hand. Serafina took it, her grip cold. "Be wary, Emily," Serafina whispered, her voice dropping. "This place holds secrets. Not all is as it seems." Before Emily could respond, the woman vanished, leaving behind only the faint scent of roses. Heart-pounding, Emily wondered if her mind was playing tricks on her. Shaking her head, she decided it was time for dinner. The dining room was a grand affair. A long table, set with gleaming silverware and crystal glasses, awaited. Several other guests were already seated, their conversations hushed. The innkeeper, whose name she learned was Mr. Thorne, sat at the head, raising a glass as she entered. "Welcome, Miss Emily. Please, join us." She took a seat between an elderly couple and a young man engrossed in a book. The meal was sumptuous, with dishes she couldn't even name, flavors bursting on her tongue. Yet, an underlying tension filled the room. Conversations were stilted, and every so often, she caught someone glancing at her with a mix of curiosity and pity. After dinner, feeling exhausted, Emily retired to her room. The bed beckoned, and she sank into its soft embrace. But sleep was elusive. Whispers seemed to float through the walls, and shadows danced in the corners of her vision. Around midnight, a soft knock sounded at her door. Heart racing, she approached and opened it to find Seraphina standing there, eyes wide with urgency. "You must leave," she hissed. "Before it's too late." "What do you mean?" Emily whispered back. But before Seraphina could answer, footsteps echoed down the hall. She gasped, disappearing into the shadows. Mr. Thorne appeared, his gray eyes colder than before. "Is everything all right, Miss Emily?" She nodded, swallowing hard. "Yes, I thought I heard something." He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. Old inns like these have their quirks. Rest well. As he walked away, Emily felt a chill settle over her. Determined to uncover the mysteries of Ravenwood Inn, she resolved to explore further the next day. Morning broke with the sun piercing through the clouds, casting the inn in a golden glow. Over breakfast, Emily tried to engage the other guests in conversation, but they remained distant, offering vague answers. Deciding to take matters into her own hands, she ventured into the depths of the inn. Hidden passageways, secret rooms, and forgotten artifacts revealed themselves. In the attic, she discovered old journals, detailing the inn's dark history of disappearances and unsolved mysteries. As days turned into weeks, Emily realized she was trapped. Every attempt to leave was thwarted by endless roads leading back to the inn, and the storm that never truly abated. The other guests were prisoners, bound by forces they couldn't comprehend. Seraphina, as it turned out, was a ghost, a victim of the inn's sinister past. She became Emily's ally, guiding her through the labyrinth of secrets. Together, they unraveled the truth. Mr. Thorne was not just an innkeeper, but a guardian of an ancient evil that fed on the souls of the unwary. Determined to break the cycle, Emily devised a plan. On the night of the blood moon, when the inn's powers were at their peak, she confronted Mr. Thorne. The battle was fierce, with shadows twisting and reality bending. But with Seraphina's help, Emily managed to break the curse, freeing the trapped souls. As dawn broke, the inn began to crumble, its foundations unable to withstand the loss of its dark heart. Emily, weary but victorious, stepped out into the sunlight. The road stretched ahead, clear and inviting. She never looked back.